shared reading today. Matter of fact, we're going to continue our Magic Treehouse series. And let's just go ahead and review the book that we read before so you can remember some important things about it. Take a look right here. We have our main characters, Jack and Annie, and their brother and sister. And they live in a place called Frog Creek. And it's in Pennsylvania. They actually have a book about it. I think I can even show you Frog Creek. Yes, here's Frog Creek. That's where they live. See, they're pointing at their house. That's where they live. And so one day they went out in the woods discovering things and they saw a tree house. So they climbed into the tree house and went up and discovered a whole bunch of books. And they pulled, they pulled the book about Frog Creek, but then they also pulled a book about dinosaurs. And then they didn't even realize what they were saying. And one of them just said, "Oh, I wish we could, go see the time when the dinosaurs were alive." And then the treehouse started to make a noise and started to spin and everything. They looked out the window and all of a sudden they saw a pteranodon coming right for them. And they were in the time with the dinosaurs. They had a lot of adventures. And actually, on their way back, they found a gold medallion with the letter M on it. Now, while they're on their adventures, Jack is taking notes in his journal to remember things. Then they finally get back to the treehouse and they have to get the Frog Creek book and wish to go back to Frog Creek. And when they finally do, they realize that no time at all had passed. And it was the same time as when they left, even though it felt like they had been gone a long time. And now they're back at home. So they both looked at each other and they said, "We're doing this again, right?" Right. All right. That brings us to our next book in this series. It is called The Night at Dawn. Two very important words in this title that you need to know. The word night is not spelled the same way as nighttime. This night, with the silent K at the beginning, means a knight in shining armor. That's one of these guys. When you have a K in front of it, it means a knight like this. And the word dawn. Dawn is first thing in the morning when the sun is peeking out, but it's not quite there. Well, here, let me show you. Might be easier for me to do that. No, that's the medallion. Do not look at that. Aha! Dawn. So you see how it's still kind of dark? All right, friends, let's get started. The Night at Dawn by Mary Pope Osborne. Ooh, actually, I'm going to show you this picture. So this is Jack in bed right here. Chapter 1, The Dark Woods. Jack couldn't sleep. He put his glasses on. He looked at the clock. 5:30. Too early to get up. Yesterday, so many strange things happened. Now he was trying to figure them out. He turned on the light, he picked up his notebook, he looked at the list he'd made before going to bed. Found a tree house in the woods. Myself. Found lots of books in it. Pointed to a pteranodon picture in the book. Made a wish. Went to the time of the dinosaurs. Pointed to a picture of Frog Creek woods. Made a wish. Came home to Frog Creek. Those were the things in his list that he found, that he wrote. Jack pushed his glasses into place. Who was going to believe any of this? Not his mom, or his dad, or his third grade teacher, Mrs. Watkins. Only his 7-year-old sister, Annie. She'd gone with him to the time of the dinosaurs. Can't you sleep? It was Annie, standing in his doorway. Nope, said Jack. Me neither, said Annie. What are you doing? She walked over to Jack and looked at his notebook. She read the list. Aren't you going to write about the gold medal? She asked. You mean the gold medallion, said Jack. He picked up his pencil and wrote, Found this in the dinosaur time. Let me show you. There we go. Aren't you going to put the letter M on the medal? Said Annie. Medallion, said Jack, not medal. He added an M. He's writing in his journal. Aren't you going to write about the magic person? Said Annie. We don't know for sure if there is a magic person, said Jack. Well, someone built the tree house in the woods. Someone put the books in it. Someone lost a gold medal in dinosaur time. Medallion, said Jack for the third time. And I'm just writing the facts, the stuff we know for sure. Let's go back to the treehouse right now, said Annie, and find out if the magic person is a fact. Are you nuts? Said Jack. The sun's not even up yet. Come on, said Annie. Maybe we can catch them sleeping. I don't think we should, said Jack. He was worried. What if the magic person was mean? What if he or she didn't want kids to know about the treehouse? Well, I'm going, said Annie. Jack looked out his window at the dark gray sky. It was almost dawn. He sighed. Okay, let's get dressed. I'll meet you at the back door. Be quiet. Yay! Whispered Annie. She tiptoed away as quietly as a mouse. Jack put on jeans, a warm sweatshirt, and sneakers. He tossed his notebook and pencil in his backpack. He crept downstairs. Annie was waiting by the back door. She shined a flashlight in Jack's face. Ta-da! She said, Shh, a magic wand. Shh, don't wake up Mom and Dad, whispered Jack. And turn that flashlight off. We don't want anyone to see us. Annie nodded and turned it off. Then she clipped it onto her belt. They slipped out the door and into the cool morning air. Crickets were chirping. The dog next door barked. Quiet, Henry, whispered Annie. Henry stopped barking. Animals always seemed to do what Annie said. Let's run, said Jack. They dashed across the dark, wet lawn and didn't stop until they reached the woods. We need the flashlight now, said Jack. Annie took it off her belt and switched it on. Step by step, she and Jack walked between the trees. Jack held his breath. The dark woods were scary. Gotcha, said Annie, shining the flashlight in Jack's face. Jack jumped back. Then he frowned. Cut it out, he said. I scared you, said Annie. Jack glared at her. Stop pretending, he whispered. This is serious. Okay, okay. Annie shined her flashlight over the tops of the trees. Now what are you doing? Said Jack. Looking for the tree house. The light stopped moving. There it was, the mysterious tree house, at the top of the tallest tree in the woods. Annie shined her light at the tree house, then down the tall ladder. Let's see if I can find this tree. This is what I imagine it looks like. All the way to the ground. Look at that ladder. I'm going up, she said. She gripped the flashlight and began to climb. Oh, this is what the picture in the story looks like. Let's take a quick look. That's the treehouse in the story. Jeepers, look at their ladder. You see Annie all the way up there. Wait, Jack called. What if someone was in the treehouse? Annie, come back! But she was gone. The light disappeared. Jack was alone in the dark. And that was the end of chapter 1. Let's read one more chapter today. Chapter 2, Leaving Again. No one's here, Annie shouted down. Jack thought about going home. Then he thought about all the books in the treehouse. Ooh, I love those books. He started up the ladder. When he was nearly to the treehouse, he saw light in the distant sky. Dawn was starting to break. Well, they say that at dawn time. They say dawn breaks. It doesn't really break. Dawn's just beginning. They call it breaking. He crawled through a hole in the floor and took off his backpack. It was dark inside the treehouse. Annie was shining her flashlight on the books scattered about. They're still here, she said. She stopped the light on a dinosaur book. It was the book that had taken them to the time of the dinosaurs. Remember the Tyrannosaurus? Asked Annie. Jack shuddered. Of course he remembered. How could anyone forget seeing a real live Tyrannosaurus Rex? The light fell on a book about Pennsylvania. A red silk bookmark stuck out of it. Remember the picture of Frog Creek? Said Annie. Of course, said Jack. That was the picture that had brought them home. There's my favorite, said Annie. The light was shining on a book about knights and castles. Ooh, I have a picture. There's a knight right there. Pretty cool. There was a blue leather bookmark in the book. Annie turned to the page with the bookmark there. There was a picture of a knight on a black horse. He was riding towards a castle. Annie, close that book, said Jack. I know what you're thinking. Annie pointed at the knight. Don't, Annie. We wish we could see this guy for real, Annie said. No, we don't, shouted Jack. They heard a strange sound. sounded like a horse neighing. They both went to the window. Annie shined the flashlight down on the ground. "Oh no," whispered Jack. "A knight," said Annie. "A knight in shining armor, riding a black horse through the Frog Creek woods." Then the wind began to moan. The leaves began to tremble. It was happening again. "We're leaving!" cried Annie. "Get down!" The wind moaned louder. The leaves shook harder, and the tree house started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was still, absolutely still. Jack opened his eyes. He shivered. The air was damp and cool. The sound of a horse's whinny came again from below. "Yay! I think we're here," whispered Annie. She was still holding the castle book. Jack peeked out the window. A huge castle loomed out of the fog. He looked around. The tree house was in a different oak tree, and down below, the knight on the black horse was riding by. "We can't stay here," said Jack. "We have to go home and make a plan first." He picked up the book about Pennsylvania. He opened it to the page with the red silk bookmark. He pointed to the photograph of Frog Creek woods. "I wish—" "No," said Annie. She yanked the book away from him. "Let's stay. I want to visit the castle." "You're nuts. We have to examine the situation." "That means we have to think about the problem," said Jack. "From home." "Let's examine it here," said Annie. "Come on." He held out his hand. "Give it." Annie gave Jack the book. Let me show you this picture of the castle they saw. It's pretty cool. Annie gave Jack the book. "Okay, you can go home. I'm staying," she said. She clipped the flashlight to her belt. "Wait," said Jack. "I'm going to take a peek. A teeny peek," she said, and she scooted down the ladder. Jack groaned. Okay, she had won. He couldn't leave without her. Besides, he sort of wanted to take a peek himself. He put down the book about Pennsylvania. He dropped the castle book into his pack. He stepped onto the ladder and headed down into the cool, misty air. That's the end of chapter 2. Tomorrow we will read chapter 3 called Across the Bridge. Dun dun dun! Thanks for tuning in. See you then. Bye.